What's up everybody, BT here. I am really excited for today's video. Number one, because this is my first attempt at a rig building video. And so if it sucks, that's probably why. Truth be told, this is the third time I've shot this because it has sucked. So hopefully third time's the charm. Number two, this rig got a lot of attention over the weekend. I was at the GoPro Mountain Games in Vail, Colorado. We go every year. It's incredibly fun, lots of outdoor activities. It's a beautiful city, and there are a ton of dogs. Like, what's not to love about that situation? But I got stopped a lot. There are a lot of videographers at that event, and I think one of the reasons is, one, the camera itself, it's Komodo and Komodo-X, and two, just the rig looks different than most rigs that you're going to see. The first piece that I'm going to put on it is my base plate, and this is from GDU, Global Dynamics United. It is the Quantum base plate. What I love about this design is it is just a single screw. It actually uses these little locating knobs, and they match up with these little recessed ports, these little recessed gaps in the KX and on the Komodo. So this one's backwards compatible, and that's, I think, something a lot of people are wondering right now, like what parts from the original will fit on the KX. So the GDU Quantum series, all of that fits on the KX. And I have more pieces to this. It's an extension that would go right here that comes off and has like a butt plate, like a little L mount and a butt plate that I can put up against my chest, and I love it. But that's when I have a little more room to allocate for a bigger rig. So that's there. I also put on this threaded, just uses the M4, and you can put like a 15 mil rod. If you wanted to put like a follow focus, you just thread it on right there. And then you'll notice that I put a sprig on this side for cable management. We'll show you what that looks like later. Now from here, I just have this little Arca Swiss plate. All right, so we've got our base plate on here. I think the next thing I'm gonna mount are the side handles. I love these side handles despite the lack of function. They're not very functional. One, they require screws to go into the body where these M4 threads are. So they're kind of locked into place. Two, they don't have anywhere to like attach a cold shoe. They don't have run stop. So here is that handle. GDU Atlas handle. It is pretty awesome. So you can see that there are a couple of like quarter 20 points right here, some M4s, quarter 20 on the bottom, more M4s on the bottom here. So you can like put things on it and adapt it, but it is a little more difficult. I'll show you how I do it. So let's put this in. So it's kind of one of those things where I wish it was NATO, because then it would be much faster and stripping this down would be much easier. But I've kind of learned to just live with it. So you can see already, it's very small. I like where the hand position is. It's not right here, it's out in the front, so when you put a lens on here, it's better balanced. Here we go, look at that. Very small, a very interesting design, but I gotta tell you, when you put it up to your chest and you've got it right here, this is incredibly comfortable to film with. And as you can see, it's just different. It's so different than, you know, like an FX3. So I need some way to do run stop because I don't have a monitor that has run stop. And if you're filming, like having to let go to tap the record button or the button down here, I'd just rather have it right next to a finger. And I can with this little piece. This is the Mutiny run stop trigger. This thing is rad. So I just install it to this spot right here. You can actually see, it says mount camera on the, or mount trigger. So it was actually kind of designed for this Mutiny trigger. That just goes in there. And now I've got run stop right at my fingertip. Very comfortable. I love the clickiness of it. It sounds good, it feels good. Now what we do is take our cable This just plugs into the EXT port. I'm just gonna feed it through my sprig here. Up through this one. I guess we can kind of plug it into the bottom here and interact. So there we go. Now we've got run stop, 2 very comfortable handles, and we still have this very small footprint. Now, to make this even more functional, I wanted to get a little bit of audio this weekend, and even though this has much, much better preamps than the first one, I didn't want to use just the scratch audio. So something that I had from the GDU Quantum rig that I bought is this little mini cheese plate. As you can see, it's pretty awesome. M4s, they conveniently go right here. Just screw them in. And now this gives me a little place to mount a cold shoe adapter. So if I take this, put that right there. Now I've got a spot for a cold shoe adapter, and the mic I took was this. This is the MKE 400, super tiny, but it sounds great, very low profile. That just slides into place. And now the cable that I use is from Alvin's Cables. It's a TRS to 5-pin audio, because that's what it uses. It's the same audio port as the Raptor. That just wraps behind and then plugs into the back right there. And now we have really high quality audio. If I wanted, I took my Rode NTG. Do I have it? Not on me. But essentially, you can get this same cable but XLR. So you can just take XLR and plug it into 5-pin audio. So if I wanted to use my Rode NTG, my XLR mic, I could have. So as you can see, pretty tiny, starting to be pretty functional. To power everything, I used the small rig V-mounts. And the reason I really like the small rigs as opposed to anything else is because they have power delivery from USB-C. So I don't have to take one of those massive V-mount chargers, those ungodly large chargers. I don't know why people haven't figured this out. Thank you, small rig. But now I can charge very quickly using just USB-C power delivery. This one is the WB50. It's very tiny. It gives me about an hour, hour and a half of power. But I mean, look how tiny this thing is. The other reason I like it is because on the backside, the LED, I can see exactly how much battery I have left. One thing that I added that I haven't used in a long time is a top handle. And the reason I added it is because Red dropped this one and it works wirelessly. It's got a record button right here and it works through the pogo pins on the top of the camera. You just screw these in. With this, it comes, when you buy it, it comes with this accessory, which is nice because it's like the most expensive top handle ever. It's honestly kind of ridiculous. There we go. Sorry, my mic was falling down. Maybe that's going to be more distracting. Anyway, there we have it. So now I've got run stop built into the top handle. It's very tiny, very comfortable to walk around with all day long. Now, there's one piece on here that you might be going like, where is his monitor? Why is he gonna use a monitor? And I didn't. And here's the reason why. With the OG Komodo, I definitely would have. I use the top screen a lot, but when you're outside, it's bright and sunny, that top screen is really hard to see. And I would use a monitor. But I wanted to try something because one of the things that makes Komodo so great, and probably the Raptor and just the current line of Reds, is that that app. The Red Control app, honestly, just is kind of a game changer. I'm using it right now to monitor the top down for my Komodo that's up there. So you can kind of see it. So what I did was I installed this cold shoe adapter on the front of the handle. just like so. Then I could take my phone mount, screw it in, and now I've got a monitor. The phone is much bigger, it's brighter, it's easier to see, and it's so much faster because it's wireless. Well, I mean, wireless is just the best, right? Like I have an Atomos Shinobi I could have taken, but then I couldn't have used it with this top handle. It just gets complicated. And then I'm having to worry about the SDI port because I've got to follow that protocol, and I'm constantly unplugging it and plugging it back in. With the phone, I don't have to do any of that. Here's something else. Like when I ran into sun issues, I could take it out and hold this where I needed it and be like, okay, I'm out of the sun here. And then I could still film here. Now, I'm sure if you've got the OG Komodo, you'd be like, I don't understand how you did that, because connection issues and latency were definitely a problem with the OG Komodo. I don't know what they've done to this one other than moving the antenna, but the connection issues, the latency issues are almost non-existent. Like I said, I'm in a small mountain town, thousands of people around me. Some of these events, it's so crowded, and I had no latency issues whatsoever. The only time I had a latency issue is when I tried to screen record me using the app so I could show you, and that's when I ran into latency issues. But this is now a pretty viable monitor. I will say though, that as good as it was, it's probably not going to work if you're trying to film anything seriously. If somebody's paid you and you need to film seriously and you don't have all the time in the world, I would not use that. So what I'm going to do in those situations is I'm going to buy the red monitor, the small HD, because you can actually use it wirelessly. It's wireless. It uses these pogo pins. You can run, stop. Everything is powered through the camera off the V-mount in the back. It's pretty amazing because it's also minimalistic. I hate wires. So you just put the base plate on here. The top handle works with it. So you can still use run, stop. It just works via pass-through. And now you've got a much bigger monitor. That's the rig I've used. I've used a variation of this rig for many personal little projects. Ever since I got the camera, it's kind of been what I've rocked. This top handle is the newest accessory. I got it right before I left, and I really enjoyed using it. Again, this was my first rig building video. Was there anything else you needed to know? I don't think so. I think that's it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Links to everything will be in the description. And thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll catch you later. Peace.